I got a new iPod, and it's a little on the small side. So I had a problem with my last iPod. It was one of the newer iPod Nanos, which means that it had a touchscreen instead of the old classic spinny wheel dial thing that was sort of touch sensitive but also had buttons. That's definitely the technical term for that. And because I take my iPod with me when I run, and I have a bit of a perspiration issue, I sweat profusely. The touchscreen was quickly saturated with the sweat from my hand, and it became barely functional within a couple of months. So I then had to resort to using the buttons on the side of the iPod to change songs and volume, and then the touchscreen would randomly freak out and take me to a Spanish radio station that was absurdly loud. Then the headphone jack started to break, and whenever I nudged my headphones, the sound would either get really fuzzy or cut out completely. To sum up, it was rough, and it was time for a change. But I didn't want to get another expensive touchscreen iPod that I was just gonna sweat into a piece of garbage within a month. All I really needed was a small device that could hold my music, change songs and volume, and not be completely destroyed by a bit of perfectly natural and healthy moisture. That's definitely not a medical condition. So I ended up getting an iPod Shuffle, a green one, because why not spice up my life a bit? And I'm very happy with it. I mean, I put most of my music on it and it's already almost filled up to the brim, so I don't think I can ever download another song again for the rest of my days, but other than that, it's great. I mean, it plays my music satisfactorily, it fits neatly in the palm of my hand, and it doesn't have a screen that's soon to be demolished. The only problem is its size. I know that Yoda once said, "Size matters not." That was a bad Yoda. Size matters not. But even so, in this case, it does kind of matter. I knew it was going to be small, but I didn't realize quite how ridiculous it would look when I changed songs on it while running. Here it is. I mean, this thing is like the size of a quarter. I can't help but feel like I'm carrying a kid's Fisher-Price fake iPod toy whenever I head outside to exercise. I try to look tough and seasoned and ready to brave the elements as I head outside in my short shorts and flamboyantly colored shoes and socks. Very impressive. I get a lot of positive feedback on those. And then I whip out this little mint green square and start pressing buttons and feel like a fool. I mean, if a regular iPod, like an iPod Nano, was a Mustang convertible, or even, a Dodge Charger, perhaps, this would be a smart car. Practical, yet relatively ridiculous. If a regular iPod is a Hershey bar, this is a Tootsie Roll. If a standard iPod Touch is a Wookiee, this is an Ewok. It's small, you get the picture. It doesn't help that the buttons make little beeping sounds when you change songs or turn the thing off, so I start to fool myself into thinking I'm really cool by listening to the Rolling Stones, and then I skip to the next song and hear boop. I mean, no one else can hear those noises, just me through my headphones, but it's still demoralizing. It still hurts. It's like a wimpy, feeble soundtrack to my life playing in my head. I guess it shouldn't bother me so much, but when I look up from my little device, I see people who are clearly staring at my hands, probably thinking, "Oh, what the heck is that boy doing? Pressing imaginary buttons in his hand. He must not be right in the head." And then the people who aren't old prospectors, like the one I just randomly, inadvertently impersonated, they're probably wanting to come over and say, "Hey, how's it going? I just noticed you pressing some buttons, and what, are you launching a rocket ship or something? Because that's cool. That would be cool. I just thought maybe you'd like to talk to somebody about that. And maybe they could help you out with just things, in general, psychiatrically. I don't want to be seen as insane, but you never know. I mean, this probably looks pretty weird from afar. I mean, this device would be an acceptable size, I guess, if it were being used by a hamster or a chinchilla, maybe, but not by a human. Not really anything larger than a small possum would this be normally sized for. The worst part is they included this little belt clip on the back of the device so that you can clip it onto your clothing and not have to hold it in plain sight. But my clothing gets so sweaty when I run that if I were to clip this to my waistband, for example, it would probably be broken in a matter of days. So I suppose this is my destiny. And maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Miniaturization is the future, as a wise person probably said at some point. So I should just flaunt it proudly and make the most of it. Hey, how's it going? Just running with my new iPod. It's a Shuffle, so, pretty impressive. Read it and weep. I guess the lesson here is that looks can be deceiving. And even if something appears ridiculous or foolish, if it works well and or makes you happy, then there's no reason to be ashamed of it. So display it like a badge of honor. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go download every Alvin and the Chipmunks song ever recorded onto this baby, because it just feels right to me. Just strangely fitting. I'll catch you later.